All right. So I'm back with the Kendra. And she told us a lot about Madagascar. She's from New York. Well, she's from many places. So you can just segue the birth, the living, and, the places you've been.
Okay. So I was born in Guyana, and I came to New York
Where,
when I
Ghana?
Guyana. It's in South America,
Mm-hmm.
next to Venezuela and Brazil. Um, yeah, so I was born in Guyana, and we came here to New York when I was 3, and we've been in like Queens since I was 3. The places I've traveled like outside of like New York or the United States. Like first it was Guyana for a little bit, and then it was Madagascar. So and now it's Jamaica. And comparing the three, like a lot, both places reminded me a lot of Guyana in terms of like the people, the landscape of the area. So like what's surrounding it, the trees, the fruits and stuff. But certain things that like I find unique to Jamaica is the how do I put this? The different levels of community there.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Madagascar, like even it was very beautiful, and the people were extremely, extremely nice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they were just very friendly, and they kind of used whatever they had, and were just content with it. That's something that's kind of similar with Jamaica, where people like they have stuff and they're just like kind of content with what they have. Um, but something that was a little different is that like even the developed areas in Madagascar were like still not the best, and you did have classism, but I don't know. I feel like you kind of experienced classism, or well, at least I saw it more so far in Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very like similar to America, how like there's racism and classism,
Mm-hmm.
and in Jamaica, I feel like classism was brought on because of racism, so
Mm-hmm.
it's all really tied in together.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So when you said you've seen classism in Jamaica,
uh-huh.
tell us where you are right now.
So right now I'm in Mocha,
Mm-hmm.
Towson,
No,
Towson,
Richmond Park.
Richmond Park, yeah.
We went to Townstone. That's further up.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Richmond Park. And we went to Kingston yesterday to, what was the name of the park?
So we went to Devon House first,
Yeah,
and then Emancipation Park.
so we went to Devon House, and I think that's where I saw it a lot, and even on the drive there, Dennis pointed out to me like the areas where the politicians live or where the police live, and just like I guess the high officials in Jamaica where they live. Um, and basically it was very secure, it was very built out, very nice, and you can clearly tell like the difference between like the country and that area. Like no one's really like funneling resources into the country, it's kind of just going to certain areas of Jamaica. And classism is basically where you feel like you have a higher, you're better than someone because what maybe you can you have like a higher income than them, you can afford more than them, and it's also in the way you live, in the way you act, in the way you talk, and in the systems that you uphold. So when we went to Devon's house, we spoke to this woman. You can clearly tell, like I don't know, by her posture, her demeanor, the way she addressed us, like if basically it's like you're not really worth anyone's time if you don't have money, or like you don't like your language, the way you speak isn't valued. The people that primarily live in Jamaica aren't really represented in those areas. It's like a lot of tourists, and so the area you had to pay for, which obviously if you have money you can pay for. The area was like 600 US dollars, which was like 75,000 Jamaica dollars just for a small event.
You wanted to do your yoga
Yeah, right.
session there.
Right. So it was nothing really crazy at all. And it's like you're paying $600 for just a nice space of green grass in the park. And then the place where, other people would congregate, um, where it was in front of like the Devon House ice cream area. And that place, like the grass was really dry. You can tell like they didn't really take care of it. It kind of looked more like a parking lot than it did you know, like a park area, and that was like the free space. Mind you, there wasn't really much space at all. So it's just interesting how they're upholding the system of like, if you don't have money, then you can't have nice things. And even like the fact that like that house was a plantation house, and like they kind of revived it and made it into like, oh, this great thing that people just take tours of when your ancestors were like hurt and traumatized in those areas. So I just thought that was really interesting. Um, and it's like the push to spend money there and to give it go like put back into those systems that are oppressing you. It's just very interesting. Very similar to America in that way. What else? Only um, there's like different. So in Jamaica, you'll primarily see just the same people with the same color doing it to each other. So that's the part of the classism, because racism is the idea that like another race is like oppressing you. Um, but in Jamaica, it kind of is perceived that like the same race is oppressing you.
Wow. So, what do you find in the countryside? Like, you've just been to Moko so far. We haven't gone to St. Thomas yet. What? How do you find?
I personally think it's very beautiful. I love like being around nature and being in nature. So this has been like a really nice break from like being in the city and being like around all of that. Um, the people here, they're pretty like quiet, but like you can sense that like everybody knows each other. Um, they don't. I haven't seen like too much interaction, but like I know like there is a community here. Like you can kind of sense it when you walk around. Like everybody's talking to each other or they know each other. Um, what else? Oh, so we are actually here because we're doing a workshop based on social and emotional learning and business planning. So a large part of creating a business is also being able to like sustain a business, and sustainability comes within yourself. So our workshop is not only focusing on like the business aspect of opening up a business, like what are you going to sell, how are you going to sell it, how are you going to make sure people are coming, like how are you going to be financially stable, and also how are you going to learn how to make whatever product it is you're making. It's also about how are you doing in your life, like are you ready to take on such a load, like how do you handle stress, how do you cope with things, and do you have a community to support you. So I think just being here in the nature and being able to talk about those topics freely. We've been doing yoga every morning, which is great for breathing, relaxation, and like opening up your mind before the day begins. So that has been really nice. And we've seen people from the community come out, people from St. Thomas come out, like Matthew and a few other people. Um, so yeah, I think like my overall experience has been tied in with like what we've been doing at the workshop, and it's just been like really great. Um, I just wish people valued this communities like this more often, like the countryside and the trees and the mountains and the natural resources they have. Um, because a lot of times what happens is that foreign people come over here and strip the people of their resources, and then the people look down on their resources and think like, oh yeah, this is just like some bush, like this isn't meaningful. When there's someone taking it back to their community and making their community stronger and leaving the people here to leave with the like left with the consequences of what they did.
Wow,
So, but yeah, I
that's good.
think
You talk a lot about the social dynamics of living. What's your area of study, or tell me?
so. I recently graduated from Fredonia College, and I studied sociology there with a minor in public health and anthropology. So, looking at social groups is something that I'm like very interested in myself. I really like to see how, especially for Black people, how coming together and making social bonds and social groups really affects the person and really affects like the overall dynamic of their life. I'm so sorry. No,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Okay. So, lady of the hour, could you just introduce yourself and tell us the aspect, the Kendra? She has been telling us the breaking down some of the reasons why she's here, and she's able to look at different communities because that's her your field of study.
Yeah.
And your sister is currently doing her PhD in
In
what field?
psychology.
Right.
So she wants to also look at the social dynamics, but on a more personal level, and just like finding therapeutic ways for people to deal with their traumas and their stress, particularly Black and brown people.
Oh, okay, that's wonderful. And today we're going to be picking up somebody, another person from the airport. Her major is decision science, and she works with an investment firm. So she will be coming and understand it's like actuarial science with a psychology aspect to it, the psychology of investing, the psychology of money making. So we're trying to get for our folks here in rural Jamaica the whole aspect of finance, your community, where you're from, and your position in life. And Miss Christie, could you come and stand with this gentleman here? What's your name, sir, and how it has been so far?
Yeah, my name is
So,
Matthew Williams,
uh-huh.
and I come from St. Thomas, in Yalas. I used to do a lot of farming, but
Where you used to do that farming? Yes, they
in Chintyville at Morant Bay, and I moved from that area, go Yalas, and start work first at a car wash, then construction work, then work sometime on truck.
All right. So why are you here today? We're gonna come right back to you. Give me a shot right here, and we're gonna talk to Matthew.